Hi guys, welcome back for the second video covering my Tau Empire Ghost Kill. I'll be showing you how I followed up on the Tamiya sprays with some acrylics, AMMO by Jimenez, to do the major black areas as well as some of the details. I then used some enamel washes and then switched back to acrylics again to do the chipping. Let's go! Here's how I want to start the model, a very solid, glossy white. Click the top right for a link on how I did it in the previous video. Next, we're going to go with AMMO by Jimenez Matte Black. Now this is an airbrush ready acrylic paint and it's very easy to work with. Now I'm not going to airbrush it, in fact I'm going to hand brush it, and it also works really well for this, and I'll show you why. First things first, give it a really good shake. Did you hear that? These guys are very clever. They put small ball bearings in there, small metal balls, and this was a brand new bottle. When I first started shaking it, the ball bearing is captured in the paint at the bottom. As I start shaking it, you can hear the ball release inside. You'll feel it a little bit too. That's when you know the paint is mixing up properly. Go with a couple of drops here. I'm using a waxed paper palette, so it's just very simple, and it stops the paint from drying on it. Then selecting a medium-sized brush, quickly dip it in the water. That will help protect your bristles. And then I've just mixed a little bit, just very much a touch into the paint here. It's water soluble, so it works really nicely. And that's it, you're in business. Now applying it to the model is really easy. Because the paints are already thinned for airbrush and paint use, I'm applying it more as a wash. If you're used to using some other acrylic paints, they're a lot thicker and they'll go on with a slightly different technique. So you can see I'm a lot looser and faster with this, and because it's over a white base coat, some shading and pre-highlighting occurs naturally, and I found that to be really super useful. I knew I could cheat a little bit and let the paint do some of the work for me. And you know, we're all about making things easier for ourselves, right? Flipping the model around, you can see I started painting directly from the bottle here. I realized that I didn't really need to be dipping it into water. And you can see some of the properties here. It's both self-shading and self-highlighting for me very nicely. Here I wanted to show you that the AMMO by Jimenez acrylics, they edge really nicely. See that sharp edge I'm getting in there up against the knee armor? And here we have it. This is one quick pass of AMMO by Jimenez Matte Black on all of the details and areas that I wanted to be black, and as a pre-shade for some of the areas I want to paint grey or metallic. Next, let's add an interesting midtone with AMMO by Jimenez Grey 059. Now it's an interesting cool grey, and I wanted that because I'm planning to add some warm weathering colors over the top of it, and the contrast is what can add visual interest to our models. I still call this the base coating stage. Now this is a single layer over the top of black, and you can see that the opacity and coverage is excellent, as is the paint's ability to stay within details and keep a fine edge whilst painting around and keeping it neat and tidy. And equally, I found I could then flick over and still get really good coverage on this circular area back here. Here's how we look now, and I'm thinking to myself, I've got one of those really nifty turntables. I should be using that for a bit more of a stable view. Sorry guys. Now on to weathering proper. I've gone with US Modern Vehicle Wash from AMMO by Jimenez, and I'm going to be thinning it enamel odorless thinner. This bottle is brand new, so I'm using my wave stirrer. I wanted to make sure that you get everything from the bottom. These products work best if they're mixed thoroughly. You can shake it, but I like using one of these stirrers. I mean, you just know it's really done and stirred properly, right? A quick clean up and setting up my workspace, and here's one of the things people ask me all the time, you know, should I be buying these products? And you know, AMMO by Jimenez, and you know, setting up your workspace, you can see I'm working in a limited area here, and they're fast, easy, and good. I mean, I'll pay money for that. Fast, easy, and good, right? That makes it worthwhile. Now, coming in for a close-up here, you'll see what I mean. It's a perfect blend. Now, I went with Modern US Wash because our image of the US military is they've got a nice high-tech look nowadays, right? At least that's my image, and we've also seen them in action in recent arid environment theaters of battle. And that's the image I was going for with this this Games Workshop Tau Empire Ghost Kill suit, is that from my understanding of the background story, these guys are a desert-dwelling race of spacefarers, and so I wanted this to you know, have a high-tech, clean look, but also give a nod back to its the arid homeworld idea. So this brown warm color is contrasting really nicely with the cool white and the cool gray that I've used so far. Now the wash product, you can see how easy it is. I'm using my same brush, yep, Uncle Link, one brush, one model, and I'm dotting it in to the details. It really is that easy. Pick out all of the details and drop it in. Because of the glossy surface here, that's an important part of your surface preparation. It will allow this mineral spirit-based product, it has a low surface tension, much lower than acrylics, so it will flow very nicely into and around detail. And what we're doing here is adding to the visual contrast. I mean, as we put the darker color into the recesses of the model, it's adding a shadow and outlining effect. In Japanese, we call that the sumi-ire effect, and it comes from the old days of doing the 2D artworks that they're known for. I'm going for a clean, crisp look for this towel. I want it to be slightly weathered, a little bit dirty so it's seen use, but not overly weathered and done. So rather than liberally wash the entire model with this product, which you could do for a different look, I'm systematically and strategically placing it into details that I'd like to accentuate. And in the future, when I want to do a more heavily model, you could see that we could go with something that would be comparative to the gunk wash that some people use on Gunpla, which is also an effective technique, and you could use this product for that as well. Just like to point out that you can see I'm painting straight out of the bottle. I didn't need to do anything further with this product, and again, I'd like that in that it helps me keep my creative flow and processes going. I don't have to mess about getting something ready to then start doing it. It's just mix it, open the bottle, and I'm in action. So I really like that. Good stuff. Here's something different I wanted to point out that I found in my video. Being as it's the top of the model, it's more likely that dirt, grime, dust, etc. will accumulate on the upper facing parts of the model, particularly around the neck here. It's underneath a flamethrower there, so I wanted it to be a bit heavier. Odorless thinner here by AMMO by Jimenez. It really is good stuff. Doesn't smell. I've got some Tamiya one as well. It's alright. And I've got some other turpentine, etc. But I hate the smell of that stuff. And you know, it gives me a burnt sensation in the back of the throat if I work with it for too long. So really simply here, I changed brushes. You don't have to, but just in case I needed to re-wash the model, I kept one brush with the US Modern wash on it, and I'm using this one straight into the thinner. I keep one bottle. I bought one extra bottle of the odorless thinner just for this, and dipping it back in, it doesn't seem to cross-contaminate it too badly, and I'm cleaning up. Like mentioned before, I wanted this to be relatively clean. If you're going to heavily or even moderately weather a model, you can't do it in too fewer steps, if that makes sense. You need to gradually build it up. Going around the bottom parts, lower facing parts of this model and the rear parts of the model, you'll notice I clean up the model less. I like to leave more of the dirtier look on the back of the model. I imagine these as being fast forward, moving type vehicles, armored fighting suits. So I'd imagine that they'd accumulate more dust on the back, and I think it's good to have a number of gradients going on it. So I've got the back looking a little grimier, dustier, and slightly more weathered from an environmental point of view, but the front has more dings, scratches, and bumping into things, that kind of environmental weathering. So a gradient from front to back as well as from top to bottom. With this wash, you can be quite pinpoint. Just with the two steps here, first putting the wash on, and I've not let it dry for long, say 30 minutes to an hour. Just the working time that it took me to get around this medium-sized model, smallish model really, and then come back with the odorless thinner. And you can see that you're able to keep it quite pinpoint in places just with the very simple use of a pointed brush, medium-sized pointed brush. So it's a useful one. Look there, streaking down. when I have excess materials like that, I start some downward streaking processes here, and that helps to give gives a little bit of reality, motion vectors, and other effects to the model whilst you're doing your pinpoint wash. Thanks guys, we're done for today. I hope you made it through with me, and next time I'm going to show you my test run on how I use the oil brushes, also by AMMO by Jimenez, and how I use them for effects. Don't miss out on that episode. Please click subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, bye!